This is the Year 3 Executive Summary for SISAQOL IMI. SISAQOL IMI stands for Setting International Standards in Analyzing Patient-Reported Outcomes and Quality of Life Endpoints in Cancer Clinical Trials. It is an international multidisciplinary consortium co-led by the European Organization for Research and Treatment of Cancer and Boehringer Ingelheim. There has been a change in the leadership from these organizations as the former leaders have stepped down. However, continuity has been ensured as the new leaders were already involved in the management of the project. This is the third of 5 SISAQOL IMI executive summaries in which we present the third consensus survey, discussions and re-voting at the third consensus meeting, as well as further discussions and exchanges on SharePoint following the meeting. To give a small recap, the SISAQOL IMI consortium consists of 41 organizations from 15 different countries. Consortium members are the legal partner organizations recognized via the SISAQOL IMI grant agreement, and another 8 organizations are formally part of the project through other contractual agreements. Through the work of 8 work packages, SISAQOL IMI aims to generate recommendations to standardize the design, analysis, presentation, and interpretation of patient-reported outcome data in cancer clinical trials. The SISAQOL IMI third consensus survey was open from 27th of February to 15th of March 2023 and included recommendation statements from 4 of the 5 scientific work packages. Work Package 2 included 24 statements, Work Package 3, 10 statements, Work Package 4, 25 statements, and Work Package 6, 20 statements. Each statement was scored on a multiple choice response category, rating from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Following the meeting, statements with very high agreement were posted and agreed upon on SharePoint without further discussion in Consensus Meeting 3. In order to gain information on the comprehensibility of the statements, Work Package 5 conducted 15 cognitive debriefing interviews with 17 participants as part of the independent validation, and Work Package leaders received a summary of the results. These results could be used to rephrase the statements together with the results from Consensus Survey 3, which were provided to the work packages on the 17th of April 2023. Patient advocates were also involved in the voting and feedback process. First of all, the recommendations were shared and commented on by a group of patient advocates and technical statements were identified. Next, a meeting with Work Package 1, 2, 7, and 8 was organized prior to the consensus survey voting to go over and explain technical statements. Another session was organized at Consensus Meeting 3 to facilitate the involvement of patient advocates at the consensus meeting before providing a final vote. The third consensus meeting itself was a hybrid meeting which took place in May 2023. In this meeting, work package leaders presented the statements with comments and proposed modifications from the survey and the independent validation interviews. Next, a second round of voting took place online. Minutes from the meeting, all the final statements were shared on SharePoint with the opportunity for final wordsmithing. Looking at the results from the survey, all SISAQOL IMI organizations responded to the survey and 77 of the 79 proposed statements achieved a 2/3 majority. 2 statements from Work Package 2 and 3 had 66% agreement. Differences in the responses between stakeholders were noted, and whenever needed, dialogue with the relevant parties was initiated. 37 statements with very high agreement were posted on SharePoint, where minor changes in 25 statements were implemented without further discussion. 42 statements were discussed at the SISAQOL IMI Consensus Meeting 3. Changes from the survey text were proposed for 37 of the 42 statements and presented in the slides that were sent to all participants before the meeting. During the third consensus meeting, half of the statements were modified before re-voting. 3 statements were re-voted on several times, and all statements were eventually accepted with some diversity between the stakeholder groups. The changes in agreement from the survey results to the meeting results were mainly in a positive direction, demonstrating the importance of the meeting discussions and the re-voting process. After additional harmonisation between Work Package 2, 3 and 6, the statements were updated in order to be included in the validation process. A report for the European Medicines Agency qualification process was prepared, and this included the final Work Package 2 and Work Package 6 recommendation statements from the consensus meeting 2 and 3. This report was submitted to the EMA on the 5th of June 2023. This report was submitted to the EMA on the 5th of June 2023. Building on the results from the third consensus survey, as well as the discussions and recommendations from the third consensus meeting, further discussions with work packages and the steering committee, the scientific work packages will continue their work with their statements. An independent validation process of the statements will be performed in October 2023, as well as a harmonisation process of the language in the statements. The examples and explanations will be conducted in the coming months together with the fine-tuning of the glossary. In the fourth consensus meeting in May 2024, a final adjustment will be made on the statements based on the results from the independent validation, the harmonisation of documents, the glossary, and the input of the Independent Scientific Advisory Board. In addition, in this meeting, advanced drafts of the final deliverables will be presented, together with the sustainability plan and the updates on the EMA qualification process. Thank you for listening.